Welcome back to Sin City Chef Boy. The last time you guys left me, we did a shrimp lo mein that came out fantastic. It was really short, about 10-15 minute cook and prep time. Today we're gonna get started with a homemade vanilla strawberry cake. So I went on and laid out the ingredients for you. Here we've got 4 eggs. We have 2 cups of sugar, a whole stick of butter, some vanilla, a strawberry gelatin mix, a cup of heavy whipping cream, and then 2 3/4 cups of flour here. Then on the side, just for extra strawberry flavor, I went on and put a cup of strawberry puree, which is just a cut up strawberry that you thaw out from a frozen bag or container, and you put a little bit of sugar in there, let it sit for about 15 minutes in a saucepan and cool down, and you toss it into the mix. So we're gonna go ahead and get started. All right, so to go ahead and begin, I've already mixed together baking soda, a teaspoon of salt, and the 2 3/4 cups of flour here. I'm gonna go ahead and take here the sugar and just add most of it. Now I used a little bit more than what the recipe said. It says a cup and a half, but I do want it a little bit more sweeter. Sometimes the cake isn't as sweet as you want it to be when you follow the directions. So I took it upon myself to go above and beyond. So I'm just gonna put that in there. Mix that up, just kind of sift it together. You just wanna get the sugar mixed in with your baking soda and your flour. Now come over here, take the gelatin mix that I have. It's a 3-ounce pack. You can find them at your local grocery store. Most of them have it. What's pretty cool about this is because I probably won't have to worry about adding any food coloring or bread coloring to make it that strawberry look. Now I've got that all sifted together, kind of a blended mix. Kind of reminds me of a strawberry cheesecake. I'm gonna take my butter here and just scatter that around. There we go. Now with the butter, because obviously it wasn't liquefied when I pulled it out, I put it in the microwave for about 30 seconds and just let it completely melt down, because you want to get little, almost like bread crumbs from the butter being in the mixture before you add the rest of your items. Now I'm just going to add the eggs, and I like to spread it around so that it's everywhere. And then over that, like I said here, this is a cup of whipping cream, heavy whipping cream. The recipe called for milk, but I looked up 6 or 7 different ones and decided to Georgify it and make my own. So I'm just gonna add this cream here. And I've got my blender. I'm gonna put this on 1 because I don't want it to go crazy. I'm mixing this mixture together. I just want to make sure that I get most of this blended. And as you can see, it's already red, so I don't have to add any food coloring or anything. Just going to turn this off for a slight second and just add the puree to it. Now the amazing thing about the puree is because it has real cut strawberries in it, so the perfect thing is you're going to pour this in there, and when you bake it, you're going to have some fresh strawberries in your cake. Now that we've got that all mixed up, as you can see here, it's nice and thoroughly mixed. You can see all of the mixture, everything came together, your eggs, your sugar, the baking soda, all fused together really well with the whipping cream. Now, I'm gonna go ahead and grab 2 9-inch baking pans that I've already pre-greased and put a little flour in. After I put that together, I'm gonna set that up and put it in the oven for about 30 minutes. All right, so it looks like we've got everything set up so we can start splitting our mix here. Now, this whole mix obviously couldn't fit into 1, so you're just gonna wanna take half the mix and eyeball it. And sometimes eyeballing can be difficult because you don't know if you're going to put too much. Now this looks really, really good. I actually didn't know that you could use a gelatin pack until I read a Paula Deen recipe, which was really cool. That's one of my favorite cooks. And most of my recipes I get from her, and I just make it into my own. Now as you can see on each of these pans, it's almost evenly distributed, everything evenly distributed. You don't want it to bake and the middle of your cake arises and the outer layers don't. Now as you can see, obviously because it's two 9-inch pans, it's going to be a 2-layer cake. And they look amazing. So I'm going to go ahead and stick it in my preheated oven. I have mine at 350. I may put it in there for 40 minutes. It depends on your oven because some people's oven cooks faster than others. But I'm going to stick it in there, get that cooking, and then I'm going to show you guys how to make a homemade fresh strawberry frost cream icing. We're back, Sin City Chef Boy. We're going to go ahead and get started with our strawberry frost cream icing. We've had our cake sitting in for about 26 minutes, 27 minutes. I went on and raised the time. I feel like my oven is a little bit slower at warming up than some, so I put it up to 380. But while that's going, we're gonna go ahead and get started with this. Now, in this bowl, I have 8 ounces of cream cheese. You can get any brand. We all know what the top brand is. Here I have about half a stick of butter. So I'm just gonna go ahead and add that. That's with the cream cheese. And technically speaking, the recipe just wants you to start adding the sugar, but I also have some Perrier so that I can make it into a strawberry frost cream. So I'm just gonna add that in there. And then here we have about 4 cups of powdered sugar. So set that to the side. And then I have some vanilla, so I'm gonna take the vanilla and add about a teaspoon. I don't ever measure anything with a teaspoon or a tablespoon. I'm just gonna eyeball it, so it's at your discretion. And grab your mixer and just start mixing away. Now, because this is going to be a 2-layer cake, the good thing is that as you mix it, you're going to come to notice that you have chunks of strawberries. The chunks of strawberries is going to be really, really good because as you put that layer in between the cake of icing, you're going to have thick strawberries that you're going to be able to cut through the cake and see. It's going to give it an amazing effect. So this is about done. Just going to take the remainder of the outer part of the bowl, swivel it around a little bit, just make sure you want to get it all mixed together. As you can see, I've completed here just a strawberry frost cream icing. Now, it says that it's ready immediately. I'm going to set it in the refrigerator so that it can stiffen. It's a little bit milky, as you want to say. So I'm just going to let it sit. It's going to start to stiffen up, and it's going to have that thick consistency like you would have if you were to get a Duncan Hines or Betty Crocker mix of frosting from the container. Now that we've got that in the refrigerator and we let that sit for about 10 to 15 minutes, I think our cake is done. I've left it in for about 36 minutes in total, but you do have to keep in mind that when I put it in there, I did raise the temperature from 350 to 380. So I have a cooling rack laid out here. And as you can see on one of my cakes, I pricked just a little hole so that I can see if the fork came back up dry, which it did. So it looks like these are complete. We'll be right back in a few minutes and just let it cool down, and we'll go ahead and put the icing on there, and then we'll see how it comes out. Alright, so it looks like we've already let our cake sit for about 20 minutes, got extra cool. So we're just going to take them out the pan. Now this is the test to see if they're done, because we hope that they don't stick to the pan and then I have half a cake coming out. So, we go ahead and flip over the pan. And as you can see, got a round back. So since we have the bottom layer of the cake, what you're gonna wanna do is just start icing it. Now the good thing about this icing is there's chunks of strawberry in it. Alright. Now the fun part is once you put the second layer of cake on, any remaining icing, I would suggest to just drizzle over it because it's going to go down the sides. So I'm just finishing icing the cake here, just going around with a spoon. I want to make sure that you get all the icing everywhere. Now it's a thin icing, so if you're worried about the look of seeing some of the cake, don't worry because the icing is just thin, so it runs down the sides. Nonetheless, you're still gonna have a tasty taste because you have 2 layers with icing and strawberries in it. We have a homemade strawberry cake here. If you just stay tuned, you'll go ahead and see the recipe listed in the back and you can try it yourself. Thanks for tuning in to Sin City Chef Boy. I'll catch you next week with a new special.